Are you all packed and ready to go, sweetie?
I sure am! Finally, after 10 long years, I get to be a Pokemon trainer and have so many wonderful adventures across the Galar region. I can't wait to take on the champion's Charizard with my very own Blaziken!
Oh, honey, I'm afraid that's not possible.
What do you mean, Mom?
You see, due to the peculiar nature of our region, an embargo was placed a long time ago, so only Pokemon born and raised here are allowed.
Oh, what? Really? That's a big bummer. Wait, we have computers that store as many Pokemon as we desire without ever having to feed them. Why can't we transfer and store them with something like that?
Well, you see, son.
You were a fool to challenge me! Go, Casi! Cut! Casi, I told you for the last time we're reviewing Pokémon Shield, not Pokémon Sword! Man, back when I was a young trainer playing my copy of Pokémon Sapphire for an entire summer, I never imagined the games would break past having over 500 different kinds of Pokémon, let alone 800! My god, gotta catch them all didn't seem this daunting even when I was 6! It's insane how massive the world of Pokémon has grown since its humble beginnings on the classic Game Boy. We went from the cute 2D Chonker Pikachu to an adorable 3D modeled Pikachu with the cutest cheeks you can picture. Whoa, what the shit? This massive new expansion to the lore of Pokemon can only be found in the 8th generation of games that were released in November of 2019, known as Sword and Shield. The second core entries to grace the Nintendo Switch from Game Freak, but can be considered the first HD games to truly continue the traditional JRPG formula the franchise has been well known for. While I haven't completed a mainline title since the 4th generation, since I really don't play my 3DS that often anymore, I still really love the Pokemon franchise. So when I first experienced this beautiful look into what these new installments had to offer, I was immediately ecstatic and completely ready to dedicate myself into battling my way to the top of the Galar region and see all the new Pokemon just waiting to be discovered. But only in Pokemon Shield, cause I ain't rolling in the Pokebucks. Starting up the game, we are once again greeted with the wondrous world of Pokemon, but this time around using an avatar born and raised in the Galar region, a UK-inspired continent where citizens gather from all walks of life to witness the yearly Champions Cup, an event so massive that it can barely contain the huge waves of excitement from fans, or the massively powerful Pokemon battling it out to see who will be crowned the next champion. Sticking to the classic Poke formula, your main goal in this game is to pave your own way to the top by going on your very own journey as a Pokemon trainer, a path that even a 10-year-old can take as long as you have a proper Pokemon companion. Luckily, your optimistic childhood friend Hop also shares the same goal as you, as he is the younger brother to the famous champion Leon, and wants to prove himself by surpassing him with his fluffy partner Wooloo, which has to be the most groundbreaking design for a Pokemon the internet has ever seen, like my god. Thanks to the directionally challenged champion finding his way home, we are granted the chance to pick between the 3 adorable starter Pokemon to be partnered up with for the adventure of a lifetime, and after a cute demonstration of how unique and special they all are, I ultimately chose my Scorbunny and quickly nicknamed her Trix. And before you ask, yes, it's cause I like the cereal even though I am not a kid. Shortly after a mysterious run-in with a set of mystical-looking Pokemon in the woods and proving ourselves in battle in front of Leon that earns his endorsement to participate in the gym challenge, Hop and I take our first official steps aboard the long journey to become the very best like no one ever was. If you don't count the previous adventures. Also end up having to take literal steps due to Wooloo's holding up the trains. Keeping in line with the traditional gameplay we have come to know and love from each Pokemon entry, you'll be spending your time capturing all sorts of Pokemon to assemble your dream team, get challenged by strangers and take their money, collect gym badges to earn your right to compete in the league, maliciously dwindle the population of certain Pokemon in hopes of acquiring a rare shiny variant, fishing, biking, and so on. The battle system is overall the same smooth kind of JRPG style it's always been, with you taking turns selecting your Pokemon's moves in order to effectively lower your opponent's HP for glorious victory or weakening them enough for a successful capture. After all, you shouldn't fix what ain't broken, and playing this way is just as fun as ever. There's plenty of strategizing when it comes to planning out your team's next move that would best utilize type advantages for extra damage, or using stat enhancements in order to land critical hits, which is always exciting when they finally pop up. And tell him on the receiving end of one, which makes me curse Arceus for my damn bad luck. And capturing Pokemon requires just as many judgment calls for what would work best in terms of keeping that Pokemon tightly snuggled up in its Pokeball, which makes capturing them all the more satisfying to accomplish, albeit if both mechanics are a tad easier in this generation of games. Every new mainline entry in this series likes to add quality of life improvements to the gameplay, and it's definitely apparent here as they decided to take a lesson straight from the Let's Go entries and have all your Pokemon gain experience at the same time, regardless if they battled or not during encounters. Which is something I didn't actually mind as much, as it kept my team fairly balanced, but I could see how this would be an annoying thing for the more hardcore players who are seeking a challenge, and I think should have been able to be switched off or an equipable item like before. That way the game wouldn't feel too easy 80% of the way through. Although, something I really like that they also kept from the Let's Go games is being able to see what Pokemon are frolicking about in the tall grass. That way you can avoid random encounters if you just want to be on your way, or to better look for Pokemon you might want to add to your team. Hell, you can even impress them with your sick twirling skills. Nailed it. These changes are the most noticeable when traversing in one of the biggest additions to the series, the wild areas, which we come to learn about from the assistant to the professor of this region, Sonia. Oh my god, she is absolutely adorable. This huge, widespread area is where you're meant to spend most of your time outside of the main story, especially seeing how it takes up more than half of your map, and boy oh boy do these areas live up to the wild aspect. From sunny skies to stormy nights, you will find yourself traversing through large landscapes with weather conditions that can honestly flip on a dime. Like how some ice types will only come out when it's snowing, or ghosts showing themselves only in the moonlight, or the truly scary moment when you think you're safe in a calm plane, a strong as heck Pokemon will pop out of nowhere, reminding you that you're never truly safe in this world.
Come on over here, you're a fake and a fraud.
While I like the idea of the game taking a more realistic approach when it comes to encountering a high-leveled Pokemon when you haven't even earned a single badge, the fact they won't even let you attempt to capture them makes the whole wild aspect feel less exciting, especially if you manage to actually get their HP down into the red. They should have just kept the whole "you don't have enough badges to train me" approach from the previous games if they were that worried about balancing the story. The biggest attraction to exploring these areas come in the shining form of dens, where you and other players can team up together to challenge special Pokemon utilizing an ability only found in this region known as Gigantamax. Honey, I blew up the Pokemon! This humongous change in battle right here is thanks to Dynamaxing, a transformation that gigantifies any Pokemon thanks to the wishing stars found in this region, and not only does it boost their base stats, but also gives your Pokemon access to powerful moves that will hit really hard and change the whole battlefield around you. Certain Pokemon even have their appearances altered to really drive home the uniqueness of this phenomena. What's that? Mega Evolution? Never heard of it! While these techniques offer a nice boost in battle and some of the unique forms are really well designed, the whole novelty of the idea got kinda old way too fast because of its limited usage being mostly in gym battles unless you're participating in a raid, which those can be fun as long as you're playing with actual people, because trying to play with the computers can be very rough, besides the captures not always being a guarantee.
You expect me to believe that big lazy bastard ran away?
Arguably the most exciting thing about a new generation of games getting announced is thinking about the new kinds of Pokemon we'll be encountering. And while we seem to be getting fewer and fewer additions per game, Galar is home to quite a few adorable new additions that have the fans like me shelling out thousands in order to obtain them. A cup-sized bear with a runny nose, one Costco pack of tissues, and I'll take a dozen. I could get my own fluffy sheep, counting them is the only way I could sleep at night. An adorable corgi Pokemon! This good pupper's name is now Cheddar! What? It's honestly such a struggle having to decide what Pokemon should stay on my team with so many new options along with the returning favorites. How does Game Freak expect any trainer to narrow down their dream team to only 6 with over 700 As I'm sure you've heard about it already way before the games were even released, yes, there's no way to transfer your old Pokemon over from the previous games, which limits the Pokedex substantially, and while I'm highly disappointed my favorite fire-wielding chicken and precious Smiley Boy couldn't join me on this journey, at the very least my favorite ghost made it in, so the pitchfork won't be completely necessary this time. A handful of the returning Pokemon that did make it in have received Galarian variants that gave them all new types and designs like in the previous generation, giving fan favorites like Mr. Mime and Farfetch'd all new designs that feel long overdue, although personally I'm bummed about Sirfetch'd being exclusive to Sword. Aw, never mind, I made the right call with Shield. Speaking of exclusives, a concept that I'm honestly shocked it took this long to get implemented is having certain gym leaders being game exclusive, adding more of a reason to experience both Sword and Shield outside of wanting a few new Pokemon. Not a $60 reason though, but I applaud the effort. Since I played Shield, I got to challenge the spooky ghost leader Alistair and the ice cold leader Melanie, two very unique trainers that I personally wanted to battle since I love the spooky and snowy aesthetics. I actually enjoyed the gym challenges before the main events because of how much characterization each gym leader put into them, from Kabu's catching challenge showing off his passion, to Raihan's battle gauntlet teaching you about weather effects to prepare you for his battle, or even Opal quizzing you in order to find her own replacement for her gym, besides seeing if you can flatter her or not. In fact, can we talk about how they really went all in for the character designs this time around? Like, seeing the fan reception makes me want to declare this the region of husbandos and waifus, cause well, it deserves it. We were gifted the radiant Nessa having her charming but tough attitude shine through battle, the big lovable grass gym leader Milo whose heartwarming smile and love for Wooloos deserves more recognition, and a man after my own heart with his rock-on aesthetic named Pierce, and don't even get me started on Ball Guy. Or girl?
Come on, Pokemon Masters, you add Nessa or Ball Guy to the game and I swear, you'll have my wallet! And not just cause there's nothing in it.
Heck, the actual enemy team in this game, fittingly named Yell, cheering and yelling their hearts out over wanting to support their #1 pick to become champion is pretty much a parody of how we are as a fan base over these characters, except they get a kick-ass theme while they do it. Having the normal Pokemon League be changed into more of a grand sports-like competition makes the idea of having rivals feel a lot more fitting than it's ever been before, and it's only made more real when you see NPCs talking about you like actual fans the more you progress. But it's not just about you if Team Yell didn't already shout that out for you. 2019 was the year us emo fans rejoiced as My Chemical Romance was brought back and a new rival was introduced named Marnie, a shy but genuine rival throughout the story who made waves as the fan favorite to win it all in her hometown, so much that Team Yell acts as her entourage to cheer her on and cause trouble for anyone who might get in her way. Which, if you think that's not taking a shot at toxic fan bases, then I think Marnie's Morpeko would like to have a word with you. Having friendly rivalry between competitors is perfectly healthy when it comes down to the spirit of competition, but sometimes you need a more antagonistic kind of challenge in order to truly bring up your A game. That smell you later kind of attitude that makes you want to scream, "Oh, I will!" even if it sounds kind of creepy, a kind of rival you would just love to take down a peg. Oh, you'll do nicely. The fairy trainer BD, while incredibly fashionable, sports an arrogant attitude towards every other challenger due to him being endorsed by Chairman Rose himself, making him believe every other challenger is beneath him in terms of skill and finesse. Nothing more satisfying than dragging a smug trainer off his high horse. While these two definitely make the competition more interesting, the one obvious rivalry that sticks out the most in this adventure is between you and your childhood friend Hop, as he's a hurricane of positivity for your journey as a trainer, while at the same time, you both constantly serve as roadblocks for each other's quest to be the best. Both of you being endorsed by the champion himself is already a clear indicator that destiny will see to it that you both will make it to the end, but what makes Hop so endearing as a character is how much he takes each loss along the way as a stepping stone for him to grow, and makes him one of the more relatable rivals I have seen in a long time. Hop is a good egg, all you naysayers are just birches. Don't think Game Freak has forgotten about you, the player, when it comes to design, as the more towns you come to visit, you gain access to all sorts of new clothing, accessories, and even hairstyles for so many different combinations for your avatar that helps you feel more at home in this world.
Admittedly, it's nowhere near as robust with customization as something like Skyrim, but maybe by like the 11th or 12th generation of games, we can have avatars so customizable they can even have tattoos. Probably not Yu-Gi-Oh related tattoos, though. Probably a legal issue.
But what truly delivers the most cozy at home kind of feelings is the addition of camping with your Pokemon at any time. Here you can chat with your whole team to see how they're doing, watch them interact or play with each other, or even play with them yourself with a game of fetch or good old feather on a stick in order to help raise their stats, just like it would in real life. It is a little odd you can't pet your Pokemon or feed them berries like before, but instead you get the option of sharing a home-cooked meal of curry with your team that can heal and raise their affection towards you. And that whole system even has its own dex for how robust it is, incentivizing you to try out different kinds of combinations to help your Pokemon grow nice and strong. Hell, I think it's helped me become quite the curry aficionado.
I'm gonna get so strong.
While these may not be the most in-depth mechanics for you and your Pokemon, they're still the best implementations we've gotten to make our own experience with these games feel more unique to us. Especially for me, who is the kind of player who likes to stick with the same team throughout my adventure, and while using only new Pokemon found early on can leave me at a disadvantage at times, the bonds formed along the journey to the end makes it all the more worth it as we kept pushing forward as a team. The journey so far has been long and tiring, but after finally acquiring all 8 gym badges and some curry dishes under my belt, it's finally time to face the Pokemon League. I mean the Champions Cup. However, instead of the normal Elite Four standing in your way before the champion, you actually have to face the rivals you made along the way, along with the gym leaders also wanting their fair shot at being champion. Which is actually something I really like in terms of story because it gives these characters more of a complete journey instead of having to face some random trainers only introduced for one battle. The preliminaries had us facing our fellow challengers in rapid succession to see who would qualify for the finals, and it's here where we got to see our rivals battle their hearts out in a true Clash of the Titans kind of fashion. Marnie humbly accepts her defeat with grace in the first round, acknowledging us, but still not giving her full endorsement to us quite yet, as we still have a ways to go, especially in the second round where we face our friend Hop in a battle that was a long time coming. After what Leon would describe as a passionate battle between friends, the victory that earns a spot in the finals goes to us. And while Hop feels dejected at first, he accepts the fact that we were the one meant to take on his brother in the finals and quickly strengthens his resolve in order to praise us on a job well done, further showcasing how much growth has happened for his character over the course of this adventure. I almost wish Hop winning would have been the canon for how good his heart is. But at last, after all this time, we are finally going to climb the final steps towards our goal, and all that's left in our way is the competing gym leaders also aiming for the same thing, along with a surprise challenge from Bidet. Sporting once again a wardrobe to be jealous of, he has been working hard to prove himself as the new fairy-type gym leader after the mishap from earlier in the story. We ultimately take him down, a rewarding moment that not only shows his character more humble than he's ever been since realizing his faults, but he even gets praised highly by the crowd, giving him more of a reason to keep striving forward, which is a nice full circle for his kind of character that I'm really glad we got to see in the end. But after all these battles, it's finally our time to face the legendary champion himself in the Battle of the Ages as we get ready to... Oh, god damn it. I knew the seemingly bad guy plot detour from earlier was gonna rear its head again before the finals were over. God! The chairman has kindly decided to interrupt the big match by letting us know he has utilized the power of the wishing stars that makes Dynamaxing possible in order to trigger the Darkest Day, essentially a doomsday-like event that was only stopped by 2 legendary heroes bearing a sword and shield, which we have unearthed the truth about earlier in the story that these heroes were actually legendary Pokemon, though it was fairly obvious from the box art, and by causing this problem now, he will possibly be preventing it from happening again 1,000 years later. What? I'm sorry, you're a chairman? Who keeps letting idiots like this be in charge of things that could possibly kill us? Well, at least we get one amazing battle theme to kick his ass to. But before we get to that, in order to help Leon put a stop to this calamity, we take a quick visit to the forest that started it all with our first legendary encounter in order to seek out the 2 Pokemon we believe are from the legend involving the Darkest Day, but only could find relics of weaponry left behind. Regardless, we take him to the top of the battle tower where Rose's project Pokemon Eternatus is putting up too much of a fight for the champion to handle. And even with our combined forces, Hop and I stand no chance against such a powerful Pokemon. That is until 2 good boys arrive. Reacting to the ancient relics, the heroic legendary Pokemon Zacian and Zamazenta join the fight, using their legendary Sword and Shield combos to weaken the mighty Pokemon of Chaos, while at the same time boosting our own Pokemon so we can deliver the final attempt at capturing this mighty Pokemon in order to put a stop to the darkest day. And I made sure to do it with a regular old Pokeball in honor of my biggest supporter out there, Ball Guy. World-ending crisis averted, we finally step into the Coliseum without further delay to face the unbeatable champion in an intense final battle that will go down in the history books as the day we overthrow the great Leon. It was the toughest battle in the game by far, full of critical hits and full restores all around, and it eventually came down to one hell of a clash between my Dynamax Tricks against his Gigantamax Charizard, with one final Pyro Ball causing a huge uproar from the crowd as his Charizard falls, and the unbeatable champion has now been beaten. Taking his defeat in grace, Leon is amazed at how far we've come and is proud that we surpassed his legacy and became the new champion, and the people of Galar have a brand new legacy to look forward to as we are applauded into the finale. We even get our player model and winning team implemented into the intro whenever we start up the game now, a small but still very cool extra bonus that honors our Pokemon's hard work that I just really love. However, in order to get the true ending to our adventure, Hop and I had to thwart the plans of two legendary weirdos, capture and tame two doggos of legend, have one final battle between friends that helps Hop find his new path in life, but most importantly, witness the true legendary moment of the precious Sonia declaring she's officially the Pokemon professor for the region. The true reward for our completed journey. Being able to play a full-fledged mainline Pokemon title in HD has been a long-time dream for so many fans over this past decade, and thanks to the power of the Nintendo Switch, the masses were finally gifted that opportunity with Sword and Shield. And how did it pan out for them? Boo! Well, okay, I can admit that some areas like the Wildlands, besides the technical aspect, left a lot to be desired when it came to its aesthetics and graphics, but everywhere else in terms of visuals, I think these games shine brighter than any of the other entries before them. The cities you enter are the biggest they have ever been, with plenty of visual eye candy for you to come across, along with way more people to interact with. The long trudges through routes between towns are way more exciting thanks to the upgraded visuals, making them look unique and distinct from one another, especially with areas like the Fairy Forest having dark but neon bright visuals from its environment in order for it to feel enchanting for the player's first visit, or how each cave now has glimmers of colorful gems etched alongside its walls that are much more visually pleasing to look at than just a run-of-the-mill kind of cave from the past, and all of this is still being presented on a handheld. I spent almost all of my time playing this game in handheld mode, and I surprisingly didn't see any dip in quality when it came to these kinds of areas. The Pokemon themselves had high-quality models that you can really see how much detail went into them, especially during battle with all the panning shots and close-ups and how they used their techniques. Sure, there was sometimes a bit of a lag or delay when it came to battling, but the animations themselves looked as solid as they had in the previous generation, if not better in some areas. Maybe I'm just a simple trainer, but to me, most of the graphics met my expectations from what I thought these games would be like on the Switch. I said most, not all. Plus, the online wild area is just dreadful to look at. Now for my absolute favorite aspect of this new generation, the music. I f***ing loved this soundtrack. Ever since the first generation of Pokemon, these games have delivered amazing music tracks that stick with you for years to come, and I have a strong feeling that these new tracks are no exception. Well, the battle themes anyway. Don't get me wrong, the town themes were nice and relaxing to listen to, albeit too relaxing for some areas, but jumping into a battle in Galar got me just as pumped as Ball Guy. While they don't have that same 8-bit feel to them that I loved growing up with, the battle music in this game has a wide range from upbeat pop-sounding music that fit the rival you're battling, to even kick-ass classic-sounding kind of rock when it came to Team Yell causing a ruckus, that you just gotta listen to know what I mean. See what I mean? Wait, no, hear what I mean? They honestly really went all out on some of these tracks, especially when you're entering that final phase of a gym battle and the crowd just can't contain their excitement anymore. This is a not so subtle attention to detail for the music breathing life into these moments that I can't help but applaud all the effort that went into it.
Now, if you were to ask me point blank, are these the best Pokemon games yet? I'd say no. Not by a long shot, honestly. But did I enjoy my time playing Pokemon Shield? Hell yeah, I did, because it's still a very fun Pokemon adventure.
While my time in the Galar region was kinda short with it barely clocking over 20 hours to beat the story, it was still a very memorable experience that I think was really fleshed out in a lot of areas. Don't get me wrong, there is still plenty of room for improvement in some areas for the next generation, but the whole uproar that these are god-awful games over the lack of previous Pokemon being able to be transferred in, or the graphics not living up to the expectations of what HD could do for a game has me only wanting to say, take a breath and chill out. Yes, these are kinda disappointing and you have every right to be upset about them, but these factors don't automatically make the games bad. Sure, I would have preferred a story that wasn't so on the simple side, but then again, this is Pokemon. I'm not expecting some grand philosophical kind of story. I'll play your story one day, I promise, come on! Dynamaxing, in my opinion, wasn't an appealing concept for battling when we already had Mega Evolutions, but if you liked it, then more power to ya. The lack of a post-game besides the Battle Tower got you down? Fight some dessert! Already filled out the Pokedex? Complete the Curry Dex! Feel like you've done all that you can in these games? Get a job and get out of my house! Where was I? Oh, yeah, right. I absolutely loved my time playing Pokemon Shield from start to finish. It kept the traditional JRPG level grinding kind of fun that helped lift the franchise off the ground while introducing us to a new region of Pokemon to befriend and make new memories with. And at the end of the day, that is all I can really ask from a new Pokemon title.
As always, guys, thank you so very much for watching this brand new video all the way to the end. As you can tell, this one took a lot longer to come out than my normal release rate of videos, which for that I do apologize for. There's been a lot of stuff going on outside of YouTube that I'm not really comfortable talking about it right now. But I had so much fun playing Pokemon Shield, so I figured it was a really good candidate for my first video game review here on the channel, especially seeing how the Nintendo Switch has a very handy feature with capturing clips, so you know, here we are.
If you enjoyed the video, Dynamaxing that like button would be an amazing way to show your support for the channel, and if you want to stay up to date for any more Poke journeys I may embark on, subscribing to this champion right here would be the best way to make sure you don't miss out on the next video, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later. Fingers crossed. Also, a huge special thanks to Trix, Cheddar, Chickadee, Snicket, Chewy, and Gene Simmons for being one hell of a team all the way to the end. Couldn't have made the journey without you guys.
So now if you'll excuse me... Wait, there's DLC coming?!
Gigantamax Venusaur? That means my baby boy!